हे एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल रिएक्शन गुरु। मैं हूं अली, मेरे साथ है शेन भाई। और आज हम एक ऐसा कपल मतलब लेके तो नहीं आए, देखने वाले हैं जो कि है जर्मन बांग्लादेशी कपल। तो इन कपल के स्टोरी जो है वो इन्हीं की ज़ुबानी सुनेंगे। लेकिन उससे पहले अगर आप चैनल पर न्यू आते हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लें। और काफ़ी रिकमेंडेड वीडियो था तो हमने कहा ये ज़रूर देखें, और रिसेंट वीडियो ही है काफ़ी। तो आज देखेंगे फिर ये कपल कैसे, इन्हीं की बल्कि मुंह से सारी स्टोरी सुनेंगे, हम कुछ नहीं बताएंगे आपको।
अगर आप हमारे चैनल पर पहली दफ़ा आते हैं तो सब्सक्राइब किया करें और वीडियो को ज़रूर लाइक किया करें, और नीचे कमेंट सेक्शन में अपना रिक्वेस्ट ज़रूर पोस्ट किया करें। तो शुरू करें वीडियो को।
टैमू एंड वजू चैनल का नेम है।
Assalamualaikum.
I'm Tamu,
And I'm Waju.
and today we present to you guys the long-awaited video, how we met and our wedding story. A lot of people have been curious about how we have met and how did the wedding happen, knowing he is a German and I'm a Bangladeshi and we live so far apart, so how was it possible? So let's start our story.
Let's start.
He is looking good in beard. Tamu and Waju. Nickname are.
For the convenience of the story, we have separated our video into different parts, and the first thing we are gonna talk about is how we know each other.
The first time we got to know each other basically was through a mutual connection. We got to know each other online. So I had a connection online, and this person also knew Tamu. And I also got to know Tamu's brother at this time. Everything happened online, obviously, and we just chatted a little bit. Tamu, me, her brother, we all are kind of working in the same field,
Okay.
the IT field. So we got talking about these topics and just basically chatted a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking about like different projects we were working on. I was studying back then, so I had to work on different projects for my university as well. So we used to discuss about problems and solutions, and most of the time, like in the beginning, we used to talk about issues.
Yeah, and this was around the time when I also got introduced to Islam.
Okay.
So I was not
That's it.
a Muslim yet when I got to know Tamu and her brother, but we also started to talk a little bit about religion in our chats.
So we used to talk about like different things, the purpose of life, meaning of life, politics, religion, everything basically. And his views, he used to share with me, I used to share my views with him. And in this way, he got influenced a little bit towards the religion
Very
topic.
good, yeah.
And
Mashallah,
the
yeah.
discussion started.
Lucky
about
guy.
religion. We used to talk about Quran verses, sometimes hadiths, and rulings of Islam, these controversial things which the Western media has like created against Islam. I used to talk to him about these things too and clear these things up for him sometimes. And whenever he had any question, he used to ask me, and I used to try to clarify to him. Through this, I also got to become a better Muslim.
Mashallah.
I think before that, I didn't have as much knowledge about a lot of things. But when I started to explain to him, then I realized, okay, I don't know many things actually. So it really strengthened my faith by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So like Tamu told you, she also had a big influence on me reverting to Islam because we talked so much about so many different things. Then, like you guys know from my revert story, I reverted in 2016, and from there, I think we can go to the next section of our video.
Which is how we decided to get married.
Okay. Interesting one.
It was around that time my parents started looking for a suitable life partner for me. There were lots of proposals which came through relatives or my parents. I didn't like most of the marriage proposals because it was very important for me to know my life partner well enough. We have to have that understanding on the most important things in our life because we are gonna be living together our whole life. But for most of the arranged marriage proposal, it wasn't possible since there is no way you can communicate with that person that much that you can develop any understanding or know a lot of things before marrying.
Yes, and since we chatted so much about different topics, Tamu also told me about this issue, like that her parents were bringing some guys asking, do you want to marry this guy, this guy, and that she was never sure about any one of them. And yeah, also told me the reasons why she didn't want to marry any of these
Interesting.
proposals. And at one point we realized that we had so many similar views actually on life and many important topics about life. Like when you talk to someone about so many very deep things,
The understanding develops and it's like a really
Amazing.
deep bonding of thinking.
Yes.
It's really hard to find someone who can actually understand
Main
that.
bond.
yes, and so we realized that maybe, just maybe, it's actually an option that we get married, because yeah, but
No, nothing.
शर्मा गए हैं
Yeah, I think back then is the time when we realized that kind of like each other. The marriage proposals, you were like kind of sad.
yeah, I didn't like.
You didn't like it. You were like, why not? Different things like that, you know?
why
But
not
we,
me
Of course, I mean there was a difference of, I think it's around 9,000 kilometers, and difference of
Yeah.
such a big cultural difference as well. So it was just in our head. It
Yeah.
was an idea, and we thought, okay, it's probably not going to happen anyway, because there are so many problems we would have to overcome if we really want to get married.
It was like problems after problems after problems after problems. Like if you think about one thing, then there is another problem. And it was like something in like a fairy tale or something if we got married at that point.
We already had the idea that, okay, it's going to be super hard to do.
It's almost impossible. So I am laughing right now, but back then it was really
Almost.
a serious situation for me. The person I feel deep understanding with is so far away. It's almost impossible for me to get married to this person. On the other hand, there is like proposals coming. I was like scared about so many things.
ये तो और
It's
ही
a big thing
tension
in our
करते हैं.
culture to talk to your parents about marriage, especially if it's your choice or something. You present it to your parents,
Yes.
even if this person is from your country or your culture, even then it's difficult. And for my case, it was a person from entirely different country and entirely different culture, also reverted guy.
जर्मनी से
So
बांग्लादेश
it was
बारात
like
लेकर
a
जाना
very daring thing for me
9,000
to
kilometers.
stand up for myself. But after doing lots of istikhara and saying dua and praying to Allah, show me the way, show me the correct way. If He's not the one for me, then show me the way so I can move to something else. But my heart said to follow and to go ahead. So I did.
And I remember still that the biggest thing at that point was, how are you going to tell your parents, if you're going to tell your parents? Because it was not even clear if she wants to do it. It was just so out of the world, this idea. But I remember that she already said she did a lot of istikhara. She told me in the chat at one point she had some kind of...
इस्तिखारा
I don't know, she thought it was some
Vision.
vision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe she can tell you a little bit about that, because I think it's a very profound thing in our story.
I can't exactly tell you if it was a dream or a
मेरे को
vision.
इस्तिखारे में
I was
पता
not
चल जाता है.
sleeping, I was not awake. Something then hit me that I want to marry this guy, so I have to tell my parents and I have to do it. No matter what, I have to do it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to support me. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has showed me that this person has made me into such a better person. We brought each other closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that is a very big thing, which is fact, and I knew it, and he knew it too. This connection I could never have with anyone else, no matter how much I tried. And after that day, like it was decided in my head that even if I'm scared, even if I'm worried, I knew I had a long way to go and I had to start somewhere. And I had to start by telling my parents.
So I still remember that before it was like complete uncertainty. What's going to happen? What are we going to do? Is she going to tell her parents? Are we going to go through with this? And it was really like from one day to the other, complete certainty about what Tamu has to do. And yeah, I think that's very, very, a very special situation I was starting.
What about you?
Of course, I prayed a lot as well, that this is gonna work out how we want it. the main issue or the main obstacle at that point was first Tamu has to talk with her parents about it. From there we can go on and see what's gonna happen.
So how did Waju tell his family?
ठीक है जी, नेक्स्ट पार्ट जो है वो आपने यहाँ से कंटिन्यू करना है, क्योंकि आप इनके चैनल पे जाएं, उधर वीडियो देखें बाकी,
Complete
इसलिए
video.
हमने बाकी कंप्लीट नहीं किया। तो इनके चैनल पे जाएं, वहाँ पे इनको ज़रूर सपोर्ट करें, क्योंकि हमने इसी वजह से पूरा वीडियो नहीं, ताकि आप उनके चैनल पे जाके देखें और नीचे कमेंट भी कर सकें कि हाँ जी हम आपको सपोर्ट करते हैं। बहुत ही लवली कपल है, गॉड ब्लेस यू बोथ। और बहुत अच्छा लगा ऐसा वीडियो देख के। एक तो उन्होंने आउट ऑफ कंट्री, आउट ऑफ
मतलब बंदे को कन्वर्ट करके
बिल्कुल
अपने
कंफर्ट जोन से,
religion, सबसे बड़ी बात।
एक जो नेशनल होता है वो कहता है कि यार मैं अपने कंट्री में ही जो भी है,
कंट्री में वो
शादी,
बता रही है ना, कंट्री में अपने रिलेटिव्स में हो जाए बहुत बड़ी बात। अगर आप किसी को अगर लाइक करते हो, वो फिर जाके एक आउट ऑफ कंट्री लाइक करना और फिर जाके पेरेंट्स को उनको कन्विंस करना, ये सब चीज़ें तो उन्होंने अभी तो पूरा आगे शेयर करेंगी, तो आपने वीडियो ज़रूर पूरा जाके देखना है। हमने देखा है, इसलिए हम अभी दोबारा आपके साथ लंबा शेयर नहीं कर रहे कि आप वहाँ जाके ज़रूर देखें, उनके वहाँ व्यूज़ नीचे आएँ और उन लोगों को सपोर्ट मिले, ताकि उनको एक मोटिवेशन मिले कि हाँ लोगों को हमारी
अच्छा
पसंद
लग गया,
है।
उन्होंने सही स्टेप लिया है, क्योंकि उनकी खुशी तो उनके लिए तो सही स्टेप है, लेकिन आप लोगों का जब ज़्यादा सपोर्ट उन लोगों को मिलेगा तो वो एक बहुत ही अच्छी चीज़ होगी उनके लिए भी। और हमारी तरफ से आप दोनों कपल के लिए
बेस्ट विशेस,
बहुत सारी दुआएं हैं, बेस्ट विशेस हैं।
फिर मिलेंगे जी हम आपको एक और नई वीडियो में। आज के लिए फिर इतना ही। टेक केयर एंड अल्लाह हाफिज़।